Welcome back, everybody, and we finally got a double stack 1911 9mm from Springfield Armory. This one specifically is the 5-inch version, but I have been able to test, of course, this one, another 5-inch, and a 4 1/4 that some friends have here in the Valley. This one's got just under 1,000 rounds through it, but the other ones that I've been able to get hands on and test have several thousand through them at this point, which gives me a pretty good overall feel for the new double stack design. However, I've owned a bunch of different Springfields, a lot of different 1911s, so I've got a good overall feel for the platform in general. Range performance of this Prodigy Double Stack 1911, because since this is a new design from Springfield, that's really what's going to matter. Not that the 2011 or double stack design in 9mm is new, but since this is the initial offering, this is where the rubber meets the road. If you personally haven't had the opportunity to shoot a 9mm 1911, or especially a double stack 1911, it's really a treat. You get all of the benefits of a 1911. The feel, the ergonomics, the angles, the controls, but you get it in a much softer recoil and a much flatter shooting 9mm profile. The natural point of aim and return to zero upon firing the Prodigy is exceptional, which is exactly what I would expect out of a 9mm 1911. The larger polymer grip on the Prodigy is quite nice. It gives you a little bit more girth to get your hand around. It's got that Hellcat style aggressive texture in there that's not abrasive, but still very aggressive. The operation of the slide and the controls are extremely smooth. I think this is something Springfield has really kind of stepped up, because some of my oldest Springfield 1911s were not this smooth out of the box. So the slide, literally the action feels like it's on ball bearings. The controls are very smooth, yet very tactile and firm once they engage. And that's what I would expect out of modern machinery and 1911 platforms. And quickly, for those that do not know how the 1911 system works, you're going to have a manual safety, which could be ambidextrous or could be single-sided. You will also have a backstrap safety, and it is hammer fired. What all of this means is you have to have a good grip on this so the backstrap safety is engaged. You must manipulate that slide safety itself. And then obviously you're going to pull the trigger, the hammer is going to go forward, hit the firing pin, and send the round down range. So if you didn't know how the 1911 works, very quickly in a nutshell, that is it. The Prodigy specifically is a forged slide and a forged frame. So what this really means to you is you are not going to have the feeling of a piece of tactical Tupperware in your hand. It's going to feel quite a bit more solid and definitely quite heavier than your standard modern kind of striker fired pistols. However, it does have that polymer lower section. What I will say is that weight and that feeling adds to the overall shooting experience, as with most other 1911s, rather than taking away from it. It's going to help you shoot the thing maybe a little faster and maybe a little flatter, especially since some of that weight is distributed up front. Whether it was from the draw or a transition from target to target, your initial sight picture is extremely natural and ergonomic for me, which just has to do with the angles of the 1911. And the return to zero on this is extremely quick, and it shoots very flat. One thing I noticed out on the range was it took me a little bit of getting used to when it came to magazine exchanges, specifically the empty gun reload, slide lock reload, or emergency reload, whatever you want to call it. Now on standard 1911s, because they are single stack, I've always just been able to operate the slide stop slide release with my primary hand. When it comes to the double stack design, being that it is a little bit more thick, I found I had to really transition my grip in order to work that slide. So that's going to be more of a training issue, whereas a lot of other people out there will find themselves, as they do that magazine exchange, using their support hand or offhand, whichever you want to call it. For me, I've never had to do that, so that is something I'll have to work on when it comes to this double stack design. All right, let's talk about the ammunition that I tested here, because that's always a big point. So I ran everything I had from 124 grain to 115 grain, cellular and bellet, Winchester white box, I think DRZ or something like that, some imported stuff. Pretty much everything that I had to throw at it when it comes to basic stuff that I use out there. PMC I think was in there as well. I did not have any issues with any of that. I also ran several different mags of self-defense ammo and specifically ensured that I captured some of that so you could see it as well. It's time to run some self-defense ammo. That is Ammo Inc. hollow points right there, as you can see. Hopefully that's focusing in for you. It's good stuff. I've run this before. It's never been an issue for me. So we're just gonna run this and see if we have any stoppages, anything like that. Okay, so you can see that one ran good. Stow that one. Next up, we have some more self-defense kind of hollow point ammunition, and this is from Atlanta Arms. They make good ammo as well. I've run this stuff multiple times before. So again, no stoppages, hopefully. So I know you can see that ran just fine. When it comes to the overall feel of the Prodigy 1911, I love 1911s. Everything from that initial point of aim, the ergonomics of them, especially when it comes to a 9mm 1911 and a double stack, that return to zero after firing, it's just exceptional. And if you don't like 1911s, it may not be your thing. I kind of dig them. Now, I am a little bit rusty. I have not been running them as much as I usually do because I don't carry one for work anymore. So I'm rusty on the controls. I'm rusty on the magazine release. I'm rusty on all of it. But overall, if you run 1911s regularly, you are going to have no issues running something like the Prodigy. Well, what about the trigger on the Prodigy? Being that 1911s are known for that right there, that sweet trigger pull and reset, what do we get specifically when it comes to the Prodigy? Let's take a good up close and personal look and do some trigger pulls so you have all the info that you're going to need. Let's go ahead and do these trigger pulls so you get a good idea. You'll see that little bit of take up, immediate break, no creep on it, being that it's a 1911 style design. There you go again. So we'll go ahead and do 3 pulls on the gauge and we will get these entered in and average them out. So a little bit different on a hammer fired back strap because you got to hold everything for it to work. Okay. First one's going to be 4.4, which is exactly pretty much what it feels like to me. So as long as we don't get anything really weird or I don't screw up here, 3 should be good. 3.7, again, pretty good. That's a little low as compared to what it feels like on hand. Let me make sure this arm is perfectly straight here. Okay, and that one went down to 2.4. Could be that I pulled a little bit fast on that, so I'll do one more. One more on here, going right from the center of that trigger. Okay, 3.4 on that one as well. So that's going to bring our average out to 3.5, which is very solid. Let's go ahead and talk directly about the size difference between like a standard 1911 grip and the double stack. So I'll get you the best view here I can. You can see the 45 here on the left is quite a bit thinner. So grabbing this with my hand, you can see I'm easily able to slide my finger and have a gap right there due to that double stack design. Where on a standard 1911, it is pretty tight right there. So a good difference in the actual overall girth of this thing. What is our overall package here on the Prodigy? What differentiates this from other double stacks out there, other 1911s out there? Let's get into that so you guys have a good idea of the overall specifications here. The frame and the slide of the Prodigy are carbon steel. You're gonna get front and rear serrations on this thing, and they are deep and extremely usable. Very important on optic ready pistols. The Agency Arms optic ready plate system on here is awesome. It's well known for being extremely durable and it maintains your rear sight. On some other pistols out there, especially striker fired versions, you oftentimes lose the use of or completely use that rear sight completely. You'll get a heavy match grade forged bull barrel in there with a 1/16 right hand twist rate. It's gonna do everything you're gonna need it to do out on the range. The pistol grip portion of the lower will of course be polymer, allowing for that double stack magazine. You will get that aggressive adaptive grip texture, much like the Hellcats have, a single finger groove and a squared off trigger guard with double undercuts. When it comes to the magazines, you're gonna get a 17 flush fit and a 20 round extended magazine. Now it's time to do it like we do here. For those of you that need all the specs, a little bit of elevator music and a little bit of spec sheet. All right, now you've had all the info, you've seen it on the range, you've seen it up close. Did I have any issues with this Prodigy? I'm happy to say I did not. There's a few things we are going to talk about, however, because remember up front when I said I did not watch anybody else's content on this. I didn't, but I did have two people start messaging me and ask me specific questions. One of which is, did I have any problems feeding any type of ammo with specifically the 5-inch version, and I did not. And like I said, I got to test this 5-inch and another one, and I know the other 5-inch has been problem-free as well because it's a local buddy of mine. The next thing that I got advised of was, did I stop or impinge the slide from reciprocating with my offhand or by driving the safety up into the slide as I was firing it? And I'm gonna say no, because I know how to run 1911s. When you're ready to put the hammer down, you don't put pressure on the safety back up while you're firing it, because that can cause some issues with the slide. So I don't know if that was the problem with people not running the thing right or holding it right, or if there was a legitimate issue. I still have not watched any other content on these as of the filming of the video. So the three that I have had access to have run reliably in all fashion. So I did not experience any of the feeding issues, whether it was the 115, 124, that Ammo Inc. hollow point self-defense ammo, or the other stuff, that Atlanta Arms self-defense ammo. But I did notice a distinct difference in how the slide was working between the two that we're going to talk about in a minute. My favorite things here on the Prodigy are going to be, first, the grip texture. So that adaptive grip texture, as they call it, it's much like sandpaper. It's very aggressive, but it's not abrasive. So you don't have to worry about tearing up your skin or your clothes or anything like that. Just overall gives you a solid feel. Next up is going to be that full rail. Not only does it look super cool on there, I mean, take a good look at that rail right there, but it just opens up all of the options for you. So lights, lasers, mini bayonets, different spacing for different hand sizes. Gives you a lot of options. And lastly, those ultra deep serrations, both on the front and the rear. Awesome, super usable, very deep. And when you're running an optic, you need really good serrations all over that thing, especially for those hard training days in inclement weather. What about my overall feelings, and would I change anything on the Prodigy? And I'm going to say yes. The thing I would like to see changed on here is the slide stop slide release. I would like to see a little bit more of an extended one so I could get in there and work that with my primary hand, even though I know most people in the manual of arms are going to say use your support hand. I'd like to see that because it would just help me run it a little bit faster. Maybe, again, going back to that ammo, the difference between the 115, 124, and the self-defense stuff, and I've now had the opportunity to run a couple types through it. Maybe a stronger recoil spring up front, and I don't know if that was by design, but it almost feels like it runs a little slow and you could beef that spring up. But now we're really starting to nitpick. The only other things I could really think of, I would love to see a magwell option for this thing, and understand why it's not on there from the factory, being at the price point they're bringing these in at. And it really does look like by design here, they're gonna have an aftermarket offering from somebody, or Springfield themselves may have one. Magwells can generally only help you. I love the way they feel at the bottom of the hand, and I love how they help you out. Just get those mags in there a little faster should you be a little bit off on your exchanges. As far as my overall feelings on the Prodigy right here, I love 1911s, and I love the fact that we now have a 9mm double stack 1911 from Springfield coming in at what my buddy just got one for in the store, right around $14.50. I think that is a pretty exceptional value when you compare this to other things out in the market, specifically, which I know everyone's going to compare this thing to, which are the staccatos. Now, $14.50 for this one, and $2,300, $2,400 or more for staccato. So comparing something to something that is $1,000 more, I don't think is realistic, but I like to see the options. This gives many of us out there, myself included, the ability to get into a double stack 9 here in the 1911 platform for a price that we can all live with. And I know for me personally, I am definitely going to get the 4¼ inch version of it because I had a chance to run my buddies. I like it, I dig it, and having a 4¼ double stack 1911 is just cool. Well, that is what I've got for you, and definitely leave me a comment down below because I am really curious to know what your thoughts are on the Prodigy, being that these things are coming in like a grand cheaper than the staccatos. Make sure you get subbed up down below and definitely turn the notifications on, because all of that and liking the video is a huge help to the channel. Thank you to TriStar for supplying the ammo for the testing today. Get out on the range, have some fun. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you all on the next one.